are doing well. Welcome back to Team Sanity Academy. It is such a pleasure to see you all, and we haven't even gotten started, and a hype train is close. I'm here with my colleague and friend G Teacher. How do we get a hype train? We just pressed the go live button. What happened here?
Jeez, these people are just like absolutely unequivocally insane. They know how to make things happen, and that's pretty much all that I can say on that one.
Yeah, like it's always astounding to me. It's absolutely just wonderful. Today we are going to be talking about how to interpret the analytics. So you're sent a lot of data. There's a lot to go through, and honestly, when you're a new streamer, it's so overwhelming. I mean, I remember when I got my first analytics report, G-Teach, and I remember just staring at it and just being, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does it mean?
What's in the box, man?
And we figure rather than letting you being Brad Pitt in Seven, we want to help you, especially because there's just so much data to work through, and there's just so much, honestly, just so much to sort that we want to give you a couple tools. That way you're not just relying on those little emails you get after every stream, because while they are useful, they are not the end all be all for the success of your channel.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, but first, I want to say thank you to Let's Be Honest and Nucleic Nurse for the subs. Really super appreciate it. Want to shout out, a voting DFG, and of course, Let's Be Honest and Nuke, Tori.
Yeah. I want to say real quick for DFG here, it is not going to be depressing numbers. It is going to be informational numbers.
Yes.
And I am the poster child for taking numbers and making them depressing. But the thing is, we need to strive to have that. We're going to have that mental, just that sort of mindset that it's informational. It's not positive. It's not negative. It's there to inform.
Yes.
That is what we are here. That is what we are all about. And once again, I am like shooting myself in the foot because my wife tells me that exact
I get this.
Welcome in, Nuke, Lesby, DFG. I thought I saw somebody else. Nope, that's it. That's it for now.
Okay.
For now.
DFG, look, G-Teach, I'm an accountant and can professionally tell you that all numbers are depressing. You know what, though? I can't even argue with that. Fair enough. Yeah, but hopefully we can make them less depressing for you. So let's go ahead and we can get to the interpreting the analytics screen here. So you might be thinking when you're a new streamer, right? You might be thinking, interpreting your own analytics is just a matter of looking to see as the little green arrow next to viewer average and the little green arrow next to subs, and that's all you need. No. If you do that, streaming will be an emotional roller coaster that will never be satisfying. And I'm speaking from experience because every time I got those little emails and sometimes, you have a weekday, and I don't mean Monday through Friday, I mean a WEAK day, where you're just looking at those little arrows and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? So part of learning how to interpret and incorporate the data is going to hopefully help.
Absolutely.
Help that whole thing. So again, it's not as easy as numbers up equals good, numbers down equals bad. And part of what we'll be talking about is how this works. F them numbers.
Feels quite strongly, as he does about Legos, and I won't get him into.
Oh, yeah. I saw the spicy Lego opinion. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And exactly, Nuke. Quickest way to kill a high after a good stream is by hyper focusing on that report. Exactly. It's actually, I wonder, I'm curious, before we really get into the meat here, G-Teach. So being streamers who not only use Twitch, but also bots, right? You get usually multiple stream reports in your emails, right?
Not always.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of interesting, because sometimes I will get a stream report from my Streamlabs bot.
Right.
But only when it feels like it.
Okay.
And a lot of the time, the Streamlabs report isn't quite as accurate as the Twitch one that I get. And so I typically, if I see that one, I fully ignore that one because it's usually inaccurate and it's super inconsistent.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so the way that there's like a parlance we use in our household because we have 3 streamers in our household. And yeah, it's a lot. And so we have lazy boss, good boss, and bad boss. And so we have Stream Elements, which is lazy boss. It doesn't really know what it's doing, but it tries hard and tells you about Raid Shadow Legends. So we'll talk about sponsorships another day.
It's funny because I did actually have a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship for like a hot second.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm not even hating. You know,
no, because I memed it for a very long time. Reached out and were like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh shit."
You know you're on your way when Raid Shadow Legends hits you up and says, "Hey, we'll give you $300 for."
Oh, it's the funniest thing.
It really is. It really is. So when you're you are too, Miss Tori. Miss Tori is one of the people who lives with me. When you're looking at Stream Elements, you have the lazy one. Streamlabs gives me the vibes of, it doesn't necessarily give you like accurate information, but it certainly wants you to feel good about yourself. And then you have Twitch, who is more accurate but way more demanding. Like there's the demanding tone, and see what I'm doing here is assigning so much emotional valence to these reports, and it's like, this is one way to sort of control it. Go, okay, all right, okay, deflate, inflate, what have you. But there's a better way. There's a better way to do this than sitting here and staring at your email. Yeah. So, and we've kind of already covered why should we care. We've talked about analytics causing small streamers distress. People take wrong conclusions away from their analytics. Actually, we didn't really talk about that. These misinterpretations lead to hasty changes in your stream because you're looking, at say Twitch, the email from Twitch, and it's like, well, guess what? You're down 15 average viewers from the last stream. And you're like, well, crap, I'm doing something wrong. I'm never going to do that again. And
for kicking me in the groin, that felt great. Like that's what it's like, because like maybe you had like a streamer, you got like this really big, like absolutely massive raid, and then the next stream, obviously, if it's anything but that happening again, the numbers are going to be different.
Yeah, exactly.
Drop that like, 25 less average viewers, like.
Right. I'm a failure. What am I doing wrong? No. You're not a failure. First, Everything's going to come back to your streamer goals. We talked a little bit about the clarity of vision that you should have with your stream and the goals that you have. And your analytics are going to basically be filtered through this lens. What kind of goals of growth, what kind of goals of community do you want? And we'll be... I'll be kind of sorting through that. Voting, I got a 2K raid, and that messed my numbers up bad for a month. I stopped looking after that, to be honest. And you know what? That is straight facts, Voting, because sometimes we dream of the large raids. Mr. Beast descends from YouTube heaven himself, and he comes down and he gives us all $5,000 in cash. And the reality is that it just really screws up your analytics for a while.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Second, analytics are only going to be as good as their scale and the variables. So when you're looking at variables, when you're looking at analytics, you need to look at your time scale, and you need to look at what variables are going to be most helpful for you to work through and work with. And then third, just looking at, that little green arrow, 16.7 average viewers, that's not going to tell the raw story outright. That's not the entire story. That's not the end of the story. So let's be honest, do not worry. Because I saw oh no, I'm supposed to be reading emails. No, you're good. You are good. So you still know your raw story. It's just this is an indicator of a particular trend if used right. Also, hello, Gabby. It's good to see you.
Hi, Gabby.
Yeah. Yeah, don't read that shit ever. See? Okay. Good. We will give you a better tool than just the Twitch emails.
Oh yeah, and when I saw that you were going to be using this particular tool, I was just like, oh, I know this one. I've used this one.
Yeah.
Extensively. It's a lot of fun to look at.
It is. It's so much fun to look at. Snarky, I want organic growth, and I want it because I'm a quality streamer with something to offer. Damn, I got a long way to go. You know what? You're on your way. Where all of us are on our way. Like G Teach is on his way. I'm on my way. DFG's on his way. Everyone's on their way, and it just depends on what that particular goal is and making sure your goal setting is reasonable.
The streamer on Twitch, for reference, happened last time I checked was Critical Role, which is a full TV production.
Yeah.
If you're anything less than that, then guess what? You're still on your way.
Yep. It's true. As far as I know, this is not a TV studio with multicams and nice editing and a control operator. I think, unless I'm in
that I've got lights.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, DFG brings up long-term numbers are generally better than short-term for knowing where things may have gone wrong, if anything. And yes, that is absolutely correct. We're going to be just diving into that in a minute. Voting, I have arrived. I live my best life each and every stream. I love that mindset. I absolutely love that mindset. And I think that is something to hold on to. Just take it in your crab claws and just be like, this is mine. You also have chicken nuggies. You know what? Chicken nuggies help.
We love us some chicky nuggies, some dank chicky nuggies.
Dank chicky nuggies. So if you've come here for a one-size-fits-all approach to analytics, I am deeply sorry, but there are no easy one-size-fits-all. It's all going to come back to your goals, right?
Yes.
So, also, if you figure out how to levitate like this guy, let me know. Like that vertical leap is impressive.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Bungus, good to see you. So the goal you set for your stream, we keep on talking about it, is tied to the clarity of vision, right? If you're aiming for niche or specialized content, for instance, a 9 to 16 viewer average might be a really good night. Right. So when you're first starting out, so I used to run, believe it or not, G-Teach, a critical thinking class on Twitch.
In all honesty, not a single piece of that surprises me. all of that checks out for me.
All of it checks out. 100% checks out.
Without it.
And I put like there was this whole thing where I'm like, okay, it's gonna be like John Oliver, you know, and it's gonna go have the sort of humor, but it's also gonna balance the philosophy stuff, and it's gonna be this really complicated thing. And you know, there were a couple of really good episodes, and then it just was a huge amount of work, and I had to end up scaling back. But the thing that I had to remind myself going in was, if I get, you know, 9 to 16 people into that niche of a content, because who goes to Twitch for a critical thinking class?
I wouldn't say it's a hot commodity. At least it's not been mentioned around the water cooler.
Yeah, it's not usually mentioned around the water cooler, but yeah, like so. It's the first couple of times I've done that. I looked at it, and I think I had like 11 folks who were there, and I didn't feel like I failed. I felt like, oh, you know what? This worked. This really, really worked. And Nuke brings up a really good point. Something that's worth mentioning. Numbers are people, real people who spend their time with you. And that is absolutely right. So when you're thinking of, you know, oh, only 9, think of it like in reality. If you went to a coffee shop and just started holding forth or playing a video game, or, you know, in my case, just being like, critical thinking is important, in exactly that noise, then that's 9 people in the coffee shop who went, you know what? I really like what you have to say. And that's a nice feeling. That's a nice feeling.
That's always something I love to remind myself. Like, if you're ever feeling down or low about any of that, think about, like, even if you have, like, let's say you have 2 people watching,
yeah.
which is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You have to also think about it almost as if you are sitting in your room doing this, and there are 2 people looking over your shoulder watching you play. And in all honesty, like, I personally, I love that. Like, there are times where, like, one of my favorite things in the world, because my wife enjoys quality time, but sometimes quality time for her is just sitting on the couch on TikTok, watching things, and just having my presence nearby.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's similar in the sense that, like, I might be playing a game and she might be watching on and off, but she's still, like, you know, chilling on that couch right behind me.
Right.
Right there, like, that is reminding me of, like, oh, it's pretty much just like I have a couch full of people who are sitting there watching my screen right here and cheering me on. Like,
Yeah.
that, like, if you think of it that way, then it becomes a lot more encouraging, especially if you then start to, like, if you ever see, like, let's say 5 or 6, like, think of
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 people cramming into the room that you're currently in just to watch you.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, when you start to think of it as, like, when people come to watch you, think of them actually walking into your room to watch you play there in person, and it starts to really generate that bigger picture.
Yeah, that's perfect. I really like that, and I like the example that you brought in with just 2 people watching over your shoulder. It just reminds me, because again, I'm an old person, and I remember the old arcade culture. Like, I used to be. Yeah, and I used to do a lot of, like, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and yeah, sometimes you get people who come in and be like, well, I'm going to challenge you, and then, you know, a challenge accepted. But sometimes you just get people who want to watch you work through it, you know, want to watch your process, and that can be really, really, really awesome. Catching up with chat a little bit. DFG, oh yeah.
I'm doing my best to throw in messages here or there. That way, I don't interrupt your thought process.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. You know, one of the things about both being an educator and being a streamer and a G-Teach, I think, can definitely attest to this. It's kind of like being a hydra of just talking, because you're doing 5,000 things at once.
Yes.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Snarky, yeah, I used to, I think one of the VODs is actually on my YouTube, which I desperately need to develop. DFG brings up one thing to quickly point out, because a lot of folks will say, I'm a variety streamer, so I don't really have a niche. But variety streaming is actually a wide net niche with lots of smaller niches found within. Good. That I think that's something to be really aware of. So like both DFG and I are variety horror streamers, right? So we play a variety of horror games, and that's where we sort of really focus in on our Twitch presence. Likewise, I've met variety cozy streamers, or variety strategy streamers, or variety shooter streamers, and what have you. So like when you say variety streamer, know that you're it's like saying I'm an academic. Like, sure, that does say something, but there's so much where that could go.
That's also why, like, diversify. Like, so many people say to diversify your content so that way you're not just on one platform. But it's also so that you can try different niches.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to try different niches, like, it's okay to like do something on YouTube differently than something that you do on Twitch versus something different that you do on TikTok.
Right.
And so that's why, like, let's say for me, like streaming, I do a lot of like mostly like first person shooters as of the current moment. But then if you go over to my YouTube, it's me reacting to a bunch of different stupid shit, or like trailers or shows and whatnot, which is not something I do on Twitch at all.
Right.
And it's just me being super nerdy. But then if you go over to TikTok, to see like other random things that I will do. And so like content isn't just about like making sure that you have multiple platforms built up, but it's also so that you can find what niche you really like and what you fit into.
It also can prevent burnout.
Experiment and try different things. You're not just like, it doesn't feel like you're stuck in. I mean, unless you like the routine,
right?
In which case, like, yeah.
Yeah, in which case it can be fine, but like, so that way you're not, you don't feel damned to phasmophobia forever. Not that I'm speaking from experience. So catching up again, Nuke, look at the baller on the pinball machine. That's exactly the kind of dynamic. Yep. People surrounding you playing Area 51 back in the day. Yep, absolutely. Hello, Mrs. G teacher. It is good to see you.
We were just talking about her and how comparing her to viewers on stream and whatnot. She was asking because she's like, why are you talking about me?
What's going on?
the whole idea of quality time together, man. We'll spend quality time while you'll be sitting here on TikTok. I'll be playing games, and every now and then I'll get a Snapchat from you because you're watching me and you're just like, look at this cutie, and I'm just like, oh.
I love this. I love everything about it.
Yeah. We love the quality time.
Yeah. So we kind of covered that point. On the other hand, if you're aiming for something really wide general interest, and you're seeing sort of a low drop off, it might, and I'm really, really stressing that it might, under some circumstances, mean that there might be some tweaking necessary. But again, that might is not a should. It's not a definitely. It's not a certainly. It's a might. So yeah, DFG originally thought about being a Bloodborne streamer. I love Bloodborne, game that I'm horrible at. There's no way I could play that day in, day out on stream. Yeah, no, that it's hard being a Bloodborne or Soulsborne at all streamer. So
literally any of the Souls games or any variant of it, I feel like people would get entertained from me doing it like once or twice, but like I would never.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Those types of games, and then I'm just gonna end up banging my head against the wall.
Yep.
And listen, we're all about the positive. Objectively less positive after playing games like that.
Yeah, it starts getting pretty intense. And yeah, being there, I could go on about that, but absolutely, 100% backing up what G teacher said, and I definitely feel you there, DFG. But notice we got this huge amount of discussion and this huge amount of reflection off of one variable. Viewer average. That was just one variable. There are so many more. Yeah, so headbang to metal, not games. That, you know what? That's a good life motto, Snarky, and I'm going to be stealing that.
Add more hair.
No! If I take my hair down, I'm never getting it back up, because once you reach a certain length,
Have that issue. The cowlick in the back. My cowlick can do more headbang than the rest of my head actually can. So
I stand the headbanging cowlick. I'm just gonna say, you know what, merch. We're gonna merch that, the headbanging cowlick.
all right, hold on, I'll write it down.
Snarky wants to know why you letting cows lick you, and Voten, of course, says, "You guys have hair."
Listen, Walton, don't you talk shit, because you have a beautiful beard when
It's true.
in my entire life.
It's true. Yeah, it just transferred. And you know what? I appreciate the transfer. Why buy the merch when you can get the cowlick for free? That's a good question, DFG. But does the cowlick headbang? That's really what gives the value. Speaking of value, time scale. That was an awkward segue. What a segue, everyone.
Yeah, it's my gasoline-powered Segway.
Exactly. Wins out for the winner, never returned. That's right. So the time that your analytics are looking at is vital, because yes, more data gives you a better view of possible trends for your channel. So like if you're looking at, and this is where those emails from Twitch and Stream Elements and Streamlabs are only so useful, because they're looking at just one stream on one night. They're not telling you about the overall larger trend. So when you're thinking about, say, okay, I tried a new direction back in November, and I want to see how it's doing now. So a 2 to 3 month. God, it's 3 months. I don't even know what time is anymore. This kind of trend, and you look at the data from that period alone. And then if you want to, you can compare it to last year's data from November to February. Now, if you decide, of course, that, okay, I'm going to get the best data by looking at my entire complete data set from when I started streaming to now.
That is fun for yearly anniversaries.
And
fun.
Yeah.
For yearly anniversaries. Not going to get you a lot of helpful stuff.
Exactly.
It's going to be from other things, yes.
Yeah, and usually, what you'll see is like those little peaks and valleys, and that's basically all you should use that really for. Yeah, and it's much like a gas Segway, Nuke, a novelty, but perhaps ill-advised.
Ineffective.
Yeah, probably ineffective. So another thing to keep in mind with your analytics are external factors, right? So analytics are responsive to external pressures. What does that mean? It means that these numbers can get inflated or deflated depending on circumstances outside your control. In other words, it doesn't matter if...
I have a great example.
Oh, yeah, go. No, I want to hear this example.
So I'm looking at some old analytics here. And looking at I'm looking at a graph here for follower count. And there is a very specific thing that threw things off for a very long time. And it was back, it looks to be about early March of 2021, where it got thrown off. I got hit with a follow bot.
Oh.
And it messed with my analytics for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because it was this massive spike where I went from having at the time I was just about to hit 400 followers, and then I jumped to over 1,000.
Oof. I weep.
Yep. And so thankfully I had a program where I was able to remove all of the follow bots, but it will always and forever show up on my analytics. And that is something that I do not have any control over. It happened. I took care of it. I got rid of all of the fake accounts, and I set up a lot of extra protections to make sure that it would be discouraged in future videos and whatnot.
Yep.
And it's still there. Like I'm looking at this graph right now where I was just like, oh, okay, so it's a pretty nice trend.
Exactly. And I love that you also vocalize your graphs. Because like, when you're sitting there looking at all these numbers and you're like, oh God, the one way to sort of quickly get it out, and this is a cheap actor trick, but you know what? It works. You're sitting there and you can be like, and then you just kind of vocalize it. It can kind of get like, okay, no, it's all right. DFG, the NFL playoffs, for example. I saw a lot of people worrying about their numbers over the last few weeks, and it's like you were streaming during the NFL playoffs. Everyone in those time slots dropped.
Especially if you were streaming on any days from Thursday through Sunday, like, good luck.
Yeah, good luck, dude. Good luck. Godspeed. Godspeed. It's all good. So yeah, understanding sudden spikes in viewership as a result of an event or some sort of release, if there's a new game, is absolutely crucial. Like I had huge spikes for the recent release for the TTRPG I designed, and it was great. It was wonderful. And then I had to remind myself, it's like, wait, this is not going to be permanent. This is a release party. Of course, there's a ton of people here. Now, let's go ahead and remember, let's see where the average goes in future episodes, because sometimes, that's just the reality of retention. And it's not because, necessarily, oh, we're doing everything wrong. It's just, there used to be a broadcast motto, and I'm trying to remember the percentage, but there used to be the broadcast motto of if you advertise to 3 million people and get 10% retention. So that's 10% of those 3 million people who watch and become fans of whatever you're doing, then that is considered, and it used to be considered, I don't know if the percentage has changed now, but that's considered a great success in broadcasting. Because, I mean, think about it, a 10% return is all you can really just sort of ask for, because you just brought, cold or whatever, 3 million. And what's 10% of 3 million? My math brain is not working because I'm doing this without coffee. I'm raw dogging life out here.
When it comes to math, I wouldn't give a really nice metaphor for how I work with math.
DFG.
For this particular, I am very bad at math. I am horrible at math. Like really bad. Like the other day, my students asked me what 7 + 8 was, and my immediate honest answer was 13. Like it was really bad.
I get it. See, I'm really good at discrete math, but just arithmetic still gets me. It's a bizarre thing. But we're having some good contributions here. Seasonal depression plays into your numbers. Yep. January and February, you can expect to drop sometimes. Yep. COVID also played an effect. Voten points out. People weren't at home at much when they started going back at work. Yep, that's absolutely true.
It was curious. Like maybe it was just because I was really bad about streaming this past summer, but analytics wise, like it was during the times of seasonal depression that I saw a lot more viewership, believe it or not. And so that right there could be a trend that I need to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Is it like I'm going against that curve?
yeah, exactly.
I wonder why.
Ooh.
Having those questions as well, like if you're going against what the trend is and you're having success in areas where other people are not, or vice versa, that could indicate a trend of some kind
Right, because
to look into further.
yeah, absolutely. And I love that you brought that up because it means that you need to understand your audience as a subset of a general audience. Right. Because yes, there's going to be general audience trends, nationally or platform wide. But then there's going to be your audience, which is a subset of that, which may behave differently. And learning how to look at that, which means, if you sit there and read, and watch a million videos on YouTube going, they're holding forth, January is the month of sorrows, or January is the month of celebrations, and you're going to see a huge drop off or a huge increase, whichever one they say, it doesn't really matter. You need to be looking at your own community instead of just taking their word for it, because you're the one who's going to know your community better than
Absolutely.
Jack YouTuber on X channel. So yeah. Sudden spike in viewership is something you need to understand as, external pressure, and likewise sudden drop off. And you can be like, okay, cool. Which analytics should I look at? And I'm going to quickly recheck because I see Nuke and DFG are weighing in really here. If you get a good raid and jump, say 20 or 50 or 100 followers, you shouldn't expect a jump in your viewer average, because a lot of raid follows are generally done in favor of the person rating, not necessarily because any of those new followers intend to watch any of your content. So we can talk about raid follower conversion. I think that's another stream in and of itself.
You could think about that for a very long time. Like I've had people roll in with a raid, or I've rolled in with a raid and I've retained. Great example here. Our lovely resident lesbian.
Mhm.
I actually rolled in to a raid of her channel.
Mhm.
That was how I viewed her for the first time. And I stuck around.
You stuck around.
I did stick around. But yes, there is kind of a trend to go along with that.
Right.
Because it's that conversion factor. Like once again, like even if you are able to take like 5 to 10% and make it a new viewer, then
All right.
that's totally fine.
Right. And I think that
And I do remember that. I do very much remember that, Wotan.
yeah, and but it's also it is absolutely a crunchy story, because I've gotten plenty of raids, and sometimes you have good nights where everything's clicking and you convert maybe 50% of the raid, and then you have not so good nights where things are like they're middling along. And then you convert maybe, 1 or 2 followers, and it's like, okay, and those can be good points of reflection too. But again, I think maybe the overarching message that we're both trying to say here is taking just one variable to be the end all be all sort of line of success or failure of your stream is a mistake. You need to be looking at it from a multivariable perspective, because if you don't do that, then you're just going to be you're going to be tempted to the dark side and not the fun one with the cookies.
Yeah, and Nuke makes a very good point here. As we get into Twitch Tracker, yes, it is very useful, but once again, if you let it, it can be very deflating. But that's really with any data sets, especially when they directly relate to you, and you happen to take them. If you happen to take them too seriously, if you use the numbers as a way to provide your self-worth, that's when things become a little more problematic.
Yeah.
Because and I'm totally not speaking from a personal experience.
Neither we've never struggled with this.
Everybody has struggled with this at one point or another.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that numbers do not define your self-worth.
Yeah, they don't.
Stares at Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. I am so guilty of this. Like, I'm sitting here going, oh, chat was really quiet. And maybe people are disengaged. And oh no, it's instead of like having 18 average, now I'm having 9 average. What's happening? Yeah, no, I've been in that, and this is just as much to me and G Teach as it is to you. Like, we are all being reminded.
Saying it out loud ourselves, we are also saying it to ourselves.
Yes.
Because we are just as guilty of it, and I started to take some steps and kind of precautions to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones is while you're streaming, turn off the viewer count.
Yep. Always turn off that viewer count. Always.
Turn off the viewer count. I did that, and wow. And this is the crazy thing. Once again, follow the trends. I started to I turned that off, and I would not look at it during my streams. And guess what happened to my numbers?
They went up.
Ooh, they started creeping up. I wonder why. There must be a trend here to follow.
Interesting. Apparently.
It's first into the point.
I love it. I love just smack dabbing into the point. What is happening in chat?
And yes, Wotan and Bungus, I appreciate all of you guys. And let's see here. Jeez, yeah. Oh, lots of Jeff. My name is Jeff.
and like literally, my name is Jeff. Like, yeah.
Have you seen 22 Jump Street?
I need to see 22. I saw, again, I am old, and so I saw the original 22 Jump Street. I have not seen the remake.
Have you seen the remake for 21 Jump Street?
I have not seen the remake for 21 Jump Street. I need to get on it. So
both of those movies are like the pinnacle of comedy. They are hilarious. And there's literally a scene where like one of the characters is acting as if they are Mexican.
Oh no.
And they do a very good job, or I should say a passable job. And then he looks to his partner, who is played by Channing Tatum, and he's just like, "Oh man, I hate when you put me on the spot like this. Like, I'm not good at impressions." And he just goes, "My name is Jeff." That's why everybody is kind of laughing here, because
I love it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that, and then I'll lean into it, because I mean, hell, the joke's right there. The jokes write themselves. Almost as much as apparently we're getting ooh woo in the chat. So there you are. There's your sound clip of me saying ooh woo.
I don't always like when other people say it, but when you say it, it's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta go to twitchtracker.com, and then you say ooh woo, and then you have some DDoS protection, which is kind of nice. And then let's go ahead and take a look at my own analytics. And
I'm gonna put all of us on the spot here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put myself on the spot. I don't mind. Right. So this is the first thing you see if you go to Twitch Tracker and you put in your username. Now, we can see some overview here.
And this is just for the performance up there. It starts off auto set for the week.
Right.
So make sure to keep that in mind as well.
Right, exactly. So like if you want a longer term, here's my 3 months, right? So, and you can notice that my hours streamed have gone down, and I can sit there and go, oh no, I'm not streaming enough. But the external pressure, because remember I brought up external pressure, and this is important to remind yourself, because you can just see that little red, like it's almost psychological conditioning. You can see hours streamed red.
Oh yeah.
Like, here's the punishment stick, So And you can get really into your head about it. But the reality is, the reason why over the last 3 months there has been a dip is because I've been working on comps and prospectus and job hunting in reality. So that means I'm not going to be streaming as much.
That's important.
That's important, right? So like when you're looking at your analytics, really reflect on your own life and go, okay, wait a minute. Yes, red text, like sad making, but also I'm doing stuff out there. Right? And okay, actually, G-Teach, what do you think about this rank stuff? As I apparently highlight everything.
So, I find the rank quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal opinion,
Yeah.
that rank, you have to also think about how many people actually do stream on Twitch. And when you start to get into that, if you actually scroll down for me real quick,
sure.
48,780 rank that you have actually translates to you being in the top 1.74% of Twitch.
Yeah.
So once again, it all comes down to like, that might seem like, oh, he's low down on the rankings, but like,
no,
not actually.
No.
Like, if we were, we'll get to my numbers in a second.
Yeah.
But like all of this stuff here, it's kind of cool to see. In a sense, like, and I wouldn't even worry about the percentage change from like day to day because it will change day to day.
Yeah, it will.
On what other people are doing. It's something that's out of your control.
Exactly.
But it's still like a fun number to have. And it really shows you just so much information here.
So much information.
Even just on the current spot that you're on right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's a lot of information, but there really is. Like, great example here. Lot of hours playing Phasmophobia.
Oh my god.
192 streamed hours of Phasmophobia.
Yep.
Of course, that's going to be his highest rate.
Yep.
And something to keep in mind is that, like, while it's not the highest average viewer game that he has,
it's true.
Something to keep in mind here is if we break the numbers down a little bit, keeping an average of 16 over the span of 192 hours, I'd say is a much more impressive display than keeping 18 average viewers in a game where you only streamed it for 12
hours. Exactly.
So that's something to kind of keep in mind there, because obviously, like, the follower count per streamed game, with you streaming mostly one game, that number is going to probably be pretty irrelevant in terms of your overall data analytics.
Right.
And DFG, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
How's that for a nice bump? Because since there's so many people who stream on Twitch, like Stranger Piece here, ranked in the 72,000 of English channels, yet is ranked in the top 1.74%.
Yeah. And it's really kind of bizarre, and it also gives you a good perspective on not just like, okay, that feels good, I'm doing the thing, but also gives you a perspective of like, okay, I know that I can do this on this platform, and I'm getting this kind of result, this kind of payout, this kind of community. Okay, cool. So this can then act as a building block for you to go, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try, experimentation and using the knowledge I've gained from this platform on, say, TikTok. So, like, for example, my TikTok, I have no idea what I'm trying to find TikTok analytics if I'm looking for ranking, but like, they have them. They're just not as helpful as Twitch Tracker. No, not even a little bit. But there's a whole community there too. The timbre is very different than that kind of thing. But yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. Absolutely. One of the things that I tend to look at too, oh yeah, you can look at popular clips, and oh, I forgot the I Still Believe one is still there. Okay. I'll answer questions about that one at another time.
Great.
So you can look, at sort of a overall trend from when I sort of annual trend, and you can kind of look at the climb up. Cool. One thing that I tend to do is I tend to want to look at just the raw statistics. Just give me those bar graphs.
Mm-hmm.
And
right now the date set is from when you started to now.
Yeah. So around February 17th of 2019 to now. So let's narrow that a bit. So let's look at the last 90 days. So this is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster because, again, PhD program was very much like, okay. And you could see like there's some sporadic kind of things happening here. And I could sit here and go, oh my God. Or I could sit here and go, no, I was juggling a lot. And the fact that I was even able to stream 46 hours during this time period and gain at least a 15 average viewer count while sitting there losing my mind, that I can kind of give myself some slack here. And you can also, even if you want to break it down, and you can sort of be responsible with yourself, right? You can look at more metrics, right? So like you can have your stats by week. Your daily broadcast time. I like a 2-hour stream because I'm old.
I'm actually right on the 2-hour mark as well, but that's also because I teaching during the day already takes a lot.
Yeah.
And so what's really cool at the same time, and especially when you start to look at the numbers and they get explained,
right?
There are stories in the numbers as well.
There are.
And it's cool to kind of break it down and see all right, I was going through this at this time. Wow, there's actually some things that I didn't quite know.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you can use these sorts of, so like active days, hours watched, that kind of thing. Those are going to tell you something about the stories. Like apparently the week from Monday, January 3rd, what was going on that January 3rd? I'm trying to even recall. I think that's when there was a big drop, not drop in a negative sense, but like a drop of a teaser trailer. So, yeah, absolutely. And you get days of the week analysis, which especially if you're a full-time streamer, like this is your only job streamer, this can be really helpful because then it can tell you some hot spots in average. Again, in average. You see this word? Average. This is so crucial to remember because you can be like, oh, this is the absolute truth. An average is always an aggregate. An aggregate number means it's compiled from other numbers that don't look like that number, but it's the average over a spread. Really let that work, because you can be like, wait a minute, I'm not getting 18 followers on my Friday. Why am I not getting my 18 followers or whatever? And be like, no, average. Let's go ahead and do you mind if we take a look at yours, G-Teach?
By all means, go for it.
Okay.
It's quite the interesting story because my numbers look way different from yours.
All right.
And it's quite interesting to kind of take a look at here because believe it or not, everybody who's gone and checked in chat has actually been considered a higher rank than I am.
Huh.
And yet they're looking at me for expertise.
Isn't that the way that we always end up?
It really is quite interesting to say the least. And it actually brings me back to a comment that I got on a TikTok video way back when I was trying to help people when I was even lower down the totem pole, where I was trying to help people like understand like how to set things up on their Twitch channels, because I understood the tech behind it.
Right.
And I had somebody comment and say like, why should I take advice from somebody who has this amount of followers? Basically like saying like the numbers are what make you worthwhile to listen to.
No.
So like it's quite it just brings me back to that, and obviously like it really means nothing to me, because at the end of the day, like my main thing is to help others. Like that is what I got into teaching for, because I wanted to make sure I was in a job where I was helping somebody. And so I fell onto teaching, and now I picked this up. Obviously, when I first started doing it, it was for fun, and I did my very first stream shortly after everything shut down for COVID.
Right.
I was working behind the scenes to kind of start doing this just for like a little funsies thing.
Yeah.
And I actually got in the Amazon order for the last of my things right on the day that everything shut down, and it was so hard to find. So like my brand new like second monitor came in the day that everything shut down. And so like that was when it was around that point where I set everything up and I started for the first time.
Nice.
And so if we were to look at like, let's go all the way down to where it has like the follower graph, because this is something that I really want to show a story about.
Okay. Oh wow.
It looks way different from yours, and there is a reason for that. If you were to hover over like the line that's at the very bottom, you'll notice that like when I first started, you can see I had maybe give or take around like 12, 11 or something. And then and then it jumps forward hard in time. And that was because I streamed like once, like maybe like 2 or 3 times over the span of COVID. And April 29th, 2020, I had 11 followers, and then I didn't stream again until November 24th of that year.
Oh, wow.
And that was because like during that point in time, like I was just doing it for fun, and then I kind of fell off the wagon as I was doing other things in life. And I came back in November. I was in probably one of the most depressive states I've ever been in my entire life. And I will say that streaming actually kind of pulled me out of that state. Because I started to, I didn't have any creative outlet at the time. I was working at a school where they micromanaged everything. They were controlling of everything. They didn't let me do anything of my own free will, essentially.
Right.
So I did not have a creative outlet, and they took up pretty much all my time in the day. It was a very thankless job, and in all honesty, like I was actually this close to quitting teaching. Not just quitting that job, quitting teaching. And I will say that streaming actually kind of saved a lot of things. And so that's when you see like going from Tuesday, November 24th up to around it was like Saturday or Sunday, December 12th, 13th. Like I was in this weird state where I had the average viewer count that I needed for affiliate, but I only had like 30 followers when I hit that. Struggle with it the other way around.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around. Yeah.
And so it was that's why I say like sometimes these numbers tell quite an interesting story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that is not the average start to somebody streaming.
No.
It was way different. And so like it's interesting to look back and see that, because like I was looking at this and I'm like, oh shit.
One thing I want to point out too, and this is something that again, you understanding the relationship between the number variables is really crucial, and it'll help you understand the story too. So I have my streamer hours have gone down, right? I don't stream as much because I've been really busy.
Mm-hmm.
That means the viewer pool that is used to compose the number of average viewers is going to be smaller, which means that when I have sort of fewer data points, and if those streams, the few streams I do are well attended, it's going to give me a higher average, right? Versus, and that higher average may not necessarily be always indicative of engagement. It's just indicative of, hey, oh, well, wait, Stranger Pieces is streaming. They don't do that often. Let's all pack in. Okay, cool. Versus someone who is a full-time streamer, right? Who is streaming like 7 days a week, and which is not necessarily a bad thing. Because again, we got to put this in context, right? If people know that, hey, you're like the nightly news, you're always going to be there, right? That means you might have a lower average, but you might have a higher engagement. Because again, it's not a special event, quote unquote. It's always there. And I think when you're thinking about that kind of relationship, it's really important to sort of contextualize it, not just take it out of, context or whatever. So like, yeah, 10 average viewers, but at the same time you've been streaming way more, like
yeah. It's been quite interesting. The month so far the year of 2021, like I've seen a general increase. And I think much of it has just been like I haven't stayed stationary.
Yeah.
I've been trying a bunch of new things, adding on a bunch of new things.
Yeah.
Finding not just playing games because I think they're going to do well.
Right.
Because that's something I once again had to tell myself, and that's something that other people also need to hear. Like, if you're looking for the numbers, then by all means, there are resources out there to look for games that like you can get a overall high viewer count for.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, one of the games that I play aggressively, as you could see, it used to be, if you were to look at all time, it used to be Apex was one of the games that I streamed the most. But nowadays, I've been playing aggressive amounts of Destiny 2.
I think you like the game.
Ask? Because I'm having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like that might indicate something for the numbers as well.
Right.
Because I recently had one of my highest viewed streams of all time while playing Destiny.
Yeah.
The thing is, Destiny is not anywhere near one of the games that you should be having progressively higher numbers in.
Right.
It's already kind of like niched off by some of these really big streamers who play in Destiny, and then that's really it.
Yeah.
And so theoretically, looking at it on paper, it shouldn't make sense, but then you dig deeper into it.
Yep, exactly.
The person playing it, me, aka, is having fun.
Yep.
They're enjoying their time.
Yep.
They're enjoying learning about it. People who come in to basically help me to understand like what it is that I am doing, what it is that I can be doing, some ways that I can do things. It has a high engagement rate as a result. Like you start to kind of break down like why is this happening? And then you start to see all of that come together. Like it's not always looking at the spreadsheet. It's sometimes having to throw in some more information that you know from a different perspective. Less of the numbers. The numbers here are being used to create a narrative of what is happening.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one way I would sort of a cautionary tale of Twitch Tracker, and I'm really glad you brought it up, is by using Twitch Tracker, not putting, I'm going to navigate away real quick, not putting in any streamers, not looking at your own, but just going to games and just being like, okay, let's see, who has what's the best thing I could stream because it's number 2, and kind of go from there. And that would be the wrong way to interpret this, right? Because it would be, all this is telling you is saturation point.
Yes.
That's it. And big surprise, League of Legends.
For a fact, right now, I'm not going anywhere near that game.
Same. Never. Never.
That's like half of these games up at the top here, like bang my head against the wall.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And most of the time, unless that is your niche community, like they enjoy watching you suffer, and you're probably not gonna do well.
Yeah.
Even if it's like rated as the highest one.
I have not seen this one. What games to stream? The list shows the games you might want to stream to increase your visibility. This is weird.
So this is based off of the idea that there are a lot of people wanting to watch and not a whole lot of people streaming those games.
Oh, okay. I see. So apparently we should all be playing Internet Cafe Simulator 2.
Evidently.
Okay.
Never heard of that before, but you can see like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. It's just look at that weird peak there. It's like, okay, odd.
I'd be curious of the story of that. Like, why did that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
There must have been like, I don't know, like a Markiplier video that came out where
you know what? Yeah. So notice what we
got other people getting into it and whatnot. But yeah, those hours watched over the past 7 days, like that number is insane.
Exactly. And notice what we just did there. We read this graph and went, okay, so what are the most obvious external factors that might drive a push like that? And so we went, okay, so most obvious thing is looking at YouTube culture and influencer culture. So when Jacksepticeye and Markiplier, or even in your own niche community, right? So like for my variety horror community, manly badass hero, once he releases a video on YouTube, then I know, I'm like, oh, people are going to be looking for this on Twitch. Okay. Or hell, even Game Grumps, right? Like they're gonna drive engagement. Voten's been sitting on this question, and I wanna make sure we get to it. When we're talking about hours streamed versus average viewer, how would that affect someone like in Voten's situations who regularly streamed for 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off on fixed rotation, and now has taken like a 2-month break? What do we think?
So Wotan is in a very interesting situation. Something like that where you stream. So something else to keep in mind, like your hours stream. I guess it depends. If you're looking at certain timelines, then your hours streamed are going to be skewed a lot. But if you look at more of like the bigger picture, you might be somebody where the bigger picture is actually a better component to look at. And the reason for that is because like you go on and off streaming, like, oh, you stream straight for 2 weeks straight, and then all of a sudden in 2 weeks you don't stream at all. Something like that might mean that like you have to look more at the long-term goals as short-term goals.
Right, exactly.
The short-term stuff starts to get thrown off in analytics when you take long breaks like that.
Yeah.
I started to see like weird things happening like that as well over this past summer because trying to get things together for my wedding took a lot, and it meant that I didn't stream a whole lot during that time, and the numbers were really weird. Wotan's even saying like we can look at his.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and pull this up here.
Yeah,
there we go.
I'll go take a look here.
Yeah.
Let's go find out.
Okay.
There's that beautiful beard.
Yeah. Okay.
Once again, I already see some things that are indicating other things for me here, but what are some of your first thoughts?
So my first thoughts here. So obviously, big break. We're going to see that the hour stream is going to be down. There's going to be, especially for large breaks, and this isn't necessarily because, you're a bad streamer. No, you take long breaks. Sometimes people are like, you know what, I'll unfollow. So there's been a little bit of dip in there. But what's really interesting is the average viewers have gone up. Your peak viewers have gone up. Mm-hmm. Your followers per hour has gone up. What does that tell me? That tells me all three of those together. You've popped in. You may have done 1 or 2 streams over that absence, and people got really, really excited and went, oh, voting, and then they immediately piled in, and you got.
I was about to say the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm seeing there. Let's see. Yep. That tracks. This all tracks.
You're totally right on this. Like, Wotan's content is all personality based.
Yep.
And so that's why like numbers look stupid good here.
Yeah.
Like, even look at this. Even with Wotan saying that, like, doing like the on and off type thing, still in the top 1.52% of Twitch.
Yep.
And social media stuff all the way.
There we go.
While you're not streaming, if you're not streaming, like, obviously make sure that you like take vacations, take days, and whatnot. But then, like, I've said this many times before, in terms of like wanting to grow and whatnot, you need to not just stream. There's stuff that you have to do outside of stream. And typically, if you're really pushing hard, it typically means that you should be doing the same amount of work in terms of hours as you do with streams. And so, for example, for myself, if I was, pushing myself to where like it was basically like a full-time job, I would be doing, so let's say like I do like 3 to 4 streams a week, typically around 2.5 hours. So you break that all down, let's say like 15 to 20 hours a week that I do streaming. That means that theoretically, if I really wanted to make sure that all the numbers were really going in the way that they needed to be, I would be spending that much amount of time outside of my stream making other content, interacting on social media, and so on. Is that something that actually happens? No. And that is why, like, if you were to look at my numbers, it's done kind of like when I was really growing a lot and I had like a really high increase before I'd kind of like steadied out a little bit more. It was because of the fact that I was basically dedicating all of my time, and while I was, trapped in my really dead end horrible job, I basically focused all of my attention and all of my creativity on this one thing.
Right.
And so I was able to dedicate more to that, and also like COVID gave me more time to do things. And I wasn't going out places, I wasn't going anywhere, and so like all of the time was spent doing that. Now, of course, that's obviously a little bit different, and that's why we see things the way that we do.
Right.
Bolton here's got it down.
Yeah, Voden here has a system. As it said that I've started making spreadsheets with dates and times for posting certain material, which means that he's starting to notice, because one thing you can notice with analytics on your social media is notice if you get a really high engagement or low engagement with certain different times when you're experimenting, you can kind of go, okay, here's my peak time. Here's when I should be posting. So like, and keep in mind, as I've learned on TikTok, those can change.
They change very drastically, and that's just as much a luck game when it comes to figuring out the best dates and times. Because, like, great example here. Great example.
Mhm.
So back when one of the first episodes for the Book of Boba Fett came out, I posted a video on YouTube, but I did not post it right away.
Oh.
And it took a little bit more time. Like it took maybe a week or a week and a half after the episode came out. Episode 2 had come out, and I posted the reaction for it. It got 6 views. Then cut to about 2 weeks later. I react to the latest Halo trailer for like the newest Halo TV series, and the trailer was released the night before. I posted it the day after. It's currently approaching 900 views, which is easily one of the biggest videos I've ever had. And then I also had something else here, which is quite interesting. I posted a video earlier today, and it's got more views than my Book of Boba Fett reaction.
Yep.
So all of that is telling me something about like when to post and kind of how to post.
Yeah, like TikTok especially, like
it's weird as well.
Yeah, it's really weird. So if you are a TikTok creator, I highly recommend you seek out the TOCA, the Online Creators Association, because they're going to have a lot more of the inside scoop about what TikTok is doing, because it's less that people are shadow banned. It's more that TikTok is sculpting their algorithm in ways that YouTube or Twitch, well, Twitch doesn't really have an algorithm, but like, I mean, it does, I suppose, but it's not an algorithmically driven thing as much as perhaps YouTube or TikTok. And as a person who used to get, 3K, I think 17K or like 35K views, and then suddenly have those tank, right? Part of it was because I went on a huge break, but another part of it is just the platform changed, the time of engagement changed, the kind of content that I'm making basically came under more scrutiny. Lest people get the wrong idea that I'm some sort of spicy accountant. I am not. I just I basically create philosophy videos, and I go, how about this, and then I say something that annoys a bunch of people, and they all yell at me, and I get a bunch of engagement. So
it is fun. It is fun to kind of like work around and see like what works for you. Like TikTok is such a weird beast because it can go in so many different directions depending on so many little things. Like if I were to go like, let's see, I don't even know if I were to look at my TikTok, like what would be looking at here. So this is quite interesting. This is really funny. So I posted a little clip of the Halo reaction that I did on TikTok. Didn't even scratch 300 views, whereas the on YouTube, where it's longer.
Yep.
Like it's like comparatively speaking, I think I posted like 30 to 60 seconds of the reaction on TikTok, and then I posted 11 minutes on YouTube. And yet typically speaking, my TikTok videos did much better than my YouTube videos. And so that's when it gets like really, really weird. And then but then you look at something like I did a trend at one point, and that got almost 3,000 views.
Yep.
But then like you go back to like a lot of my like clips from games, like they tend to average anywhere from like 200 to 300, 200 to 400, give or take. But it's really weird kind of seeing like, because then there's other clips of mine where like some of my more popular clips that like have more views on Twitch than they do on TikTok. Like it's
all over the place. And keeping all of that in mind when you're looking at your analytics, it can get easy to get sucked into the game of like, I have 3,000, I think I'm nearing 4K on TikTok right now. And I can be like, you know, why doesn't like the follower count on TikTok mean that I actually have like 4K on Twitch? You know, don't let yourself get into that trap. Don't let your get
Absolutely not.
because
people might want to see you for this content rather than this content. Like,
exactly.
you get different niches depending on where you go, which is why it's good to kind of diversify and see like, hey, what works on which platform?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be something different each time.
It is.
Lesbians. All right. So here's an interesting thing, and I might actually make a poll for this. Very curious to see what people think about this one. She is saying TikTok over Hover. We're starting it. Okay, let's
okay. All right.
But TikTok over Hover. I'm actually curious to see what people think because I'm in this weird in between state, and so I'm gonna actually refrain from voting instead.
Yeah, same. I'm not going to vote
because I see value in both, which is like which one is quite interesting, and so I'm definitely gonna refrain. I'm gonna see what other people think here.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting point. So informative videos seems like it gets more hits. Speaking from personal experience, talked about and showed how to treat a chicken's bumblefoot.
Yeah.
Yes, which is quite interesting. Much like obviously in your streams and with your name, you have a lot of like meme type stuff with chickens. If you haven't gone and seen either Ms. Double Yolk or Double Yolk when they stream, it is an absolute blast. They have probably one of the most engaging like overlays. You can send a chicken across their screen. It's very funny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're experts in really messing around with that stuff. But it's interesting. That's a great example of diversifying your content. Like,
right.
you made a YouTube video that is not even remotely close to what it is that you're streaming, because they typically, like, a lot of time when I see Ms. Double Yolk and Double Yolk streaming, they're streaming like horror games. A lot of Phasmophobia. They streamed a lot of Phasmophobia.
Right.
And so but it kind of goes back to that whole idea of like diversifying stuff is quite interesting.
Yeah.
And so let's see. Definitely missed a couple others here. Bit of a side hop, just a note: if you're watching content on how to grow, it's centered solely on how that person grew, and it may work for you, it may not. Yes.
Yeah.
Go for more of the informational stuff, not the anecdotal stuff.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely.
And of course, Ms. Double Yolk. Wotan. So Wotan's kind of feeling in the middle as well. TikTok is amazing, but there's too big a pot of people. Hover is great to get new followers, as the people on there are strictly people that use Twitch for viewing or streaming. It's still early days, but it's currently being ruined by a F for F culture on there. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, you see that. You see that a lot of different places. Like Discord is wrought with follow for follow BS and teams and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because they're not teams. It's the people who make them and have all of this advice. Like, people go in there and they follow that big person and expect that it's gonna, trickle down economy.
Yeah, exactly.
It never works.
It never works. It never works that way. And one of the things that I want to bring up too with TikTok and Hover is that it's really going to depend on not only your video presentation and video editing skills. Like, this is where, especially for TikTok, just sitting there and posting your clip raw isn't going to be the move. And we should probably cover that in a future Academy session of like, here's how to edit your videos for social media. But also on Hover, it's going to depend on the game, right? The game culture. Like, I see their competition, right? And I could see they have a lot of great opportunities for folks who are far more FPS centric. I don't necessarily know if there's a huge community on Hover for the indie translation horror game Totem.
You'd be surprised, because like even if I were to like look at my horror stuff, like maybe the view count and numbers isn't as much, but I will say that sometimes I do get a kick out of seeing notifications from Hover, because there are things that I posted some time ago and they're still getting hit around. And even from like, let's see, one of the highest viewed, let's see, so one of my highest viewed ones is from Halo Infinite, and it's a stupid clip where the AI got buggy for a hot minute, and these Marines were just going nuts. They were opening fire on something that was not there at all. And they're just like, they are so intense. Like they're firing every round. One of them's got a rocket launcher. One of them's got a sniper. You just see bullets and rained hellfire down on something that is not there. Well, but even then, like after that, like some of my bigger clips, like I have one from the first Little Nightmares.
Oh wow!
Game that's been out for a while, and like
Yeah.
it's this weird sort of like back and forth thing, and like sometimes like it's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a fun experiment, and really just for the sheer fact that like as you're scrolling through, like let's say like your feed or whatever, you can go and like they have a button that says visit on Twitch.
Right.
That right there, they cut out so many steps of like
It's true.
you have a link in your bio.
Yeah, link tree and
like all that stuff. Like that is something like functionality wise I wouldn't mind having on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be good.
Like the video that you're looking at, and it like automatically allows you to like link directly to whatever social media you desire. Like I feel like that would be a really good one.
Yeah, that would. That absolutely would.
I would agree on like Hover being really user friendly in the sense of like putting together videos. Like you don't have to worry about getting something like Streamladder to make vertical clips. Like you can take like your regular old clips right from Twitch. Like you don't have to go through an 8 million step process. Like you can just make it right on the app, and it kind of put all those intuitive tools together, which is very nice. But yes, it is very niche based.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely niche based.
So
yeah, I mean, if you like one of the, I guess I'm where I land is as a pragmatist here. Use what works. Like if TikTok works for you, then use TikTok. If Hover works better, use Hover. You know, for me, like I have a Twitter, and lots of people report that Twitter engagement is really where the Twitch views aren't. That's never.
Yeah,
no.
It's very yes for some people maybe.
Yeah, for some people, yeah, sure.
That's where you have to try to start sifting through, like, is it informational or anecdotal?
Yeah.
Because like even for me, like I might only have like what is it, like 40, I got 41 followers on Hover, yet I have 1265 followers on TikTok, yet I would say conversion rate is much higher from Hover. And so it really comes down to a couple of different like things. It really is dependent on what works best for you. For me, to post on Hover and TikTok, like it really doesn't give me that much more work to do.
Right.
Because like most of the time, like I already have the clips sitting around for Hover, and it's easy enough to just go and like post one or two.
Right.
I would argue that TikTok content takes a lot longer for me to make. Because I wouldn't necessarily say that clips have as much of a good turnover rate in TikTok as they do on Hover, but that's also just from my personal experience. So like everybody might have different feelings on it, and so exactly. The ceiling is definitely much higher on TikTok, I would say. Because that ceiling is impossibly high.
Yeah.
So It's quite interesting. And then Farsoth is saying Insta for me. Also, welcome in.
Yeah.
Instagram. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It's
just
that is probably my weakest social media. Is Instagram.
Same. Yeah. I'm also not a photographer. Like one of the things. So this is where a personal self inventory, and this is maybe something we can focus on in another episode too. Can be really helpful. Is what's your draws? Like for me, of course, the draw is going to be this particular voice. This is what most people notice the first thing, that when they come into my streams, they're like, oh, hello. You have a voice like a news broadcaster. Or I've gotten other comments. We won't talk about those because those are TOS. So when you're thinking about what are your qualities, what do you want to lean on, right? You know, if you want to sit here and stare at Voten and go, ooh, woo, then what the places where you're going to succeed are places that are going to accentuate your voice. On the other hand, if you're really into photography or tech reviews or reactions, right, then it's going to be there's going to be a different kind of relationship between Twitch and YouTube, because Twitch is going to be your filmed live with a studio audience, and then YouTube is going to have that edited down and sort of made for mass consumption.
And that was quite interesting that you mentioned that, because like I tried posting similar content to what I have on Twitch and it didn't do well.
Yeah.
Like I posted a video of like some highlights from some of my like Apex streams. I tried to post a video where I gave the 15 steps to start streaming, and like those took me a lot of time to edit and put together. But then I cut my editing time down in half when I make these reaction videos, because I have like everything set up inside of Streamlabs so that I can do minimal editing, yet still make it look like a quality piece of video. I can make them faster and they do better. And so
we should have another Academy class where setting up your OBS for YouTube success.
Yep.
Like
I would happily go with that, because that would be another great thing, because everybody who streams here uses some sort of broadcasting software, and so whether it's Streamlabs, OBS, Stream Elements, whatever it might be, you can set up scenes so that way you can do less editing for YouTube.
Yeah.
Which would be nice.
Yeah, oh my god, that would be nice. You know, the less J&L cuts I have to do every day. You know?
I have a template now set up in one of my video editors where all I really have to do is split the long recording that I did at certain intervals. I set myself as I'm recording the video. So I know exactly where they are. I just split them up. I toss them into the template, export the video, and they're all good to go. Like I could record a video tonight and have it ready to post tomorrow.
Awesome.
Like that's anything that you can do. Like here's a great thing, guys. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
If it already works. Do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Do it. Sir. I can't stand up because the problem is I'm 6'7". And like
I'm 6 foot on the dot, but I have a slouching problem, so it worked out for me here.
Perfect, because like we're gonna have to like angle the camera that way. But no, I think that's. Does anyone have any questions about social? We can continue talking about social media, data analytics, interpreting data analytics, problems therein, or anything else.
Oh my goodness, double yolks here too? Oh, both the double yolks are here.
All right, the double yolks. Welcome in.
I love them. I love both of them. They're the most wholesome individuals. And I used to live near them and not know it.
Aww.
And now I don't.
Aww.
We're still in the same state, thankfully, but like they're they are some of the most wholesome folks out there.
I get it.
Positive, really aggressively funny. I love them. Whenever you go to set up your stream after Snarky stream, well, my check looks really good on this camera, but let's move that back up to my face.
Yep.
And mine are about everything anyone wants in their analytics. Oh, okay.
Okay. So it looks like Farsoth has some anxiety here.
Yes. So let's try to ease.
Yeah.
Let's try to ease some of the anxiety here. So while it's not necessary to look at the numbers when doing this, it is something that can help if you do it the right way. And so you don't want to necessarily like focus so hard on it that it gives you anxiety, depression, other mental health issues, because as streamers, that's probably going to be the biggest health crisis that will be faced. Is there's a lot of mental health issues that come about as a part of streaming. And that's something that isn't often talked about from outside of the streaming community. People don't quite understand that, like, I have so many people all the time say like, "Oh, you stream? Like you get people to watch you play video games? Like I just don't understand that." And I always have the same argument every single time, and I'm like, well, especially like I live in an area that may or may not have a mafia or two, and so I asked them like, "Well, you watch the Bills play, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I love football. I love watching the Bills play." And I'm like, I can never understand why you would watch somebody play a game when you could just do it yourself. And they're like, "Wait a minute."
Oh.
It's almost as if sports, like watching sports, that's the same exact thing. You're watching somebody else do something that you could do or potentially not do. You might not be able to play games. You might not be able to play sports, but the thing is, it's entertaining. And you know what's even better with streaming? You take it up a step further. You can actually engage with the people who are providing the entertainment. If you're watching a football game, guess what? You're not going to be able to talk to the people on the field while you're sitting there in your living room watching.
Yeah.
But you can while you're streaming.
Yeah.
While you're watching people stream. Interactive TV, yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it, Delio. After 17 months of streaming with Chris on W and a few months ago started my solo streaming, I had to take a break for a little while because your head's set enough. Yeah.
That's important. That's really important.
Second in your channel, chat comes first. Absolutely. And it's crazy fast sometimes. Yes.
Yeah.
Chat is a challenge. And so that's another skill that kind of comes with it. You have to be able to read quick and be able to keep up with everything. Which is why, like, personally, at this point in time, for sure, I prefer having like a smaller, tight-knit group of chatters rather than like, you know, if I were to hop in, like I just saw actually after I mentioned it, Markiplier is currently streaming right now.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, he's got slow chat on it. It's like,
oh God.
I'm like, it would, first of all, it would give me so much anxiety not responding to everybody because that's what I'm there for. I want to be able to talk to everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
So if there's like 2,000 people watching and slow mode is moving basically like it's a teleprompter,
Yeah, you're going to have to adjust your presentational style to something more akin to an arena show than, you know, a conversation in your living room. And that I mean, obviously Mark's got it down, but like at the same time, we're never taught that as amateur broadcasters because that's one of the things and why the, you know, Team Sanity Academy is the thing is because we're all amateur broadcasters. We're learning broadcasting and on the fly, and this is something people used to go to school for 2 to 6 years.
Crazy.
So one of the things that you know, why we're sort of keen on defanging a lot of these fears when you're going through broadcasting is because there usually is a reason that has nothing to do with you for why something is not working. Sometimes that doesn't mean that, like, you have no effect on your own stream. Of course you have an effect on your stream. But at the same time, when you're considering the whole picture, and this is especially true for analytics, you need to understand that you are not the center of the universe, and that's actually a blessing. That's okay.
Yes. I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. And yeah, Farsoth, that's the best that you can do. And the other day when I had that, like, for me, like my record-breaking stream, there were people going at once, and I'm just like, shit. I'm like, and of course, like, I'm in the middle of a game, and I'm trying to, like, do both, and eventually I just said, like, all right, guys, I do apologize. I will get to chat here in a minute. I'll go back through. I'll kind of respond to everybody, so don't you worry. I will get to that. And it's just kind of, it actually kind of comes back to some of my teaching strategies.
Yeah.
In a way, it's I'm kind of using my classroom management technique.
Yep.
Everything I needed to do as a streamer, I learned from being a teacher.
Yeah. Really.
So, like, if you're a teacher and you're streaming, lean into that teaching mentality, because it's gonna help so much. Or if you've ever done anything involving retail or food service, lean into the skills that you use for that, because so many of them translate into streaming as well.
It's true. It's true.
Sometimes the smaller chats are nice. Like, if I have one person who is chatting back and forth and just, like, really chatting about things, like, it's fun to really get to know them more.
Yeah. You can get some really nice conversations that way. I mean, one of my newer followers had, and this is sort of an interesting thing, where sometimes the chat isn't always about, the kind of echoing back and forth. Sometimes it's an actual discussion. So, like, I met someone on another stream, and I was playing a horror game, and this person kept on going, "This is really strange, and here's all the justifications why." And it wasn't just like, shitting on the game or shitting on me. It was like, hey, this is really weird. What's going on in the story? And so I had a really nice, like, 45-minute discussion about verisimilitude in narrative. And people were like, wow, that was really informative. And I'm like, oh, it wasn't boring. Yes. And as an educator, as well, like, it's something to get used to, because with the classroom, you of course have the institution going, hey, by the way, you should probably pay attention. You should probably show up here according to particular mandates having to do with degree completion. But on Twitch, it's a little bit, you don't have that safety net. And so when you're going through that and you notice that people are really engaging, even just one person, it can just make your whole night, because all of a sudden you're like, wow, someone actually cares about what I care about.
Yeah, Farsoth and the Double Yolks are making some just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with Double Yoke, yeah, you guys have the advantage that, like, when both of you are together on the Double Yoke channel, there's two of you. One person reading chat, other person playing game, or both reading chat. Like, that is pretty helpful.
Yeah, having the 2-person team, like, it's so fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So nice. But, like, yeah, I agree, Lesby. I think having, like, the small, I kind of like the small vibe too at the moment.
Yeah.
Nice. Do I eventually want to work my way up further? Then yeah, absolutely. But am I in a rush? No.
Yeah.
Take my time, build up what I need to, do what I got to do, and that's what I'm here for. Right now, I'm in the most amount of fun that I've ever had while streaming. When I first started, it was a lot of fun, but I was also doing, especially when I got to that November 2020, when I picked it up and I really got into it.
Yeah.
Please, nobody do this. I stream 6 days a week.
Oh my God, no.
Well, it was still, like, sometimes it would be 2 hours, sometimes it would be longer than that. Like, and of course, because of the job that I had and I was at work late, I would rush home, scarf down something, and immediately get to stream. Because I thought like, oh, this is the way to do it. I have to stream more often. And so I stream 6 days a week, sometimes even 7 days a week.
The grind set.
Yeah, and the grind mindset is a terrible mindset to have.
It is.
And early on, I was not aware of this until I figured it out for myself. I didn't have anybody tell me this. I had to figure it out that I'm like, oh, I can't keep this pace. I cannot keep this pace at all. And so I reduced it down, and I felt guilty about reducing it down. And so a lot of the stuff that I talk about during these streams are things that come from personal experience.
Yeah.
Like I went through all of this stuff, and some things I still do. But just knowing that just knowing all of these things so you don't have to go through what I did, like please take them and run with them.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
Absolutely. Look at the long haul.
Yep.
Mark, going back once again, just because I see it on my little sidebar on Twitch here. Markiplier did not become massive overnight. Like, it took time. And it took a lot of, like, if they actually did like a couple of like videos on like his life. His life does not scream that he should be where he is today. He had a very hard life, a very challenging life. His dad, who he was very close with, died at a very young age. His like finances were not great at one point or another, and he just basically he did not have a great life. And then all of a sudden, like as he started to kind of build and work towards this, it started to all kind of come together. And he still lives like very minimalistically. Like he does not flaunt a lot in his life, and he just mostly gives a lot of his money just away. And he just keeps what he needs. So it really like it helps paint a picture.
It does.
So having that patience, I think, is something that's really big. Going back to the analytics, like patience is a virtue. My wife tells me that I have the patience of a saint because I teach 7th graders. She doesn't know how I do it. Frankly, sometimes neither do I. Because 7th graders are kind of intense at times. But it just means that I've trained myself in patience. And while it's not always the same for everybody else in terms of trying to give yourself patience as much as you give others patience, like that's a big deal. It's even harder to give yourself patience than it is to give others patience.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is. You know, and the good point, Ms. W. Yolk. InSim did not grow overnight. It does take time, but now you can't keep up with this chat, right? So it's like, it's one of those things where sometimes, and I tend to think of success, especially when interpreting analytics. Too many folks, and I am one of these too many folks, who I have to constantly remind myself, success is not a lightning bolt. It is an avalanche. You know, so when you're thinking about, you know, the big, you know, lightning bolt moment, yeah, those happen, sure, but let's not count on it instead.
Yeah, and also like lightning fades just as quickly as it shows up.
Exactly. Where, you know, it's better to be an avalanche about these things, because that way you're building momentum slowly and slowly and slowly. And I think that when we think of success, it's a more sustainable way to sort of conceive of it. Because rather than, you know, sitting around and waiting for the lucky break, instead you have more agency in your own success. And I think having that agency is going to be the secret to investing yourself into what you're doing. You know, whether it's, you know, streaming every day for 4 hours, or whether it's streaming 3 days a week for 2, you know, it's just whatever kind of model it will work for you. Yeah, don't be shocking. Crush all those in your path. That's right, Dogface. You got it. You're good. Yeah. is there anything else that we want? Because we're coming up on the 2 hours here.
The 2 hour mark, yeah. Crazy. We this really was a great topic to cover.
Yeah.
Because so many people talk about numbers all the time, whether positive or negative, and so it's something to really keep in mind. And W, oh, that's another great point there.
Oh, thank you for the subscription.
For 3 months in advance. Look at this absolute unit over here, just champ coming in.
Yeah. Hit him with the shoulders.
There's an interesting dynamic kind of talking about here, like between like the idea of streaming too much versus streaming too little, like what's the happy medium.
Right.
And it does depend. Like mental health wise, it wasn't great for me to stream 6 days a week, but it did mean that I hit affiliate very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not everybody else's story. A lot of people struggle to even get to affiliate. But it was mostly for me, just like I had a very solid group of continued and continued return viewers. And so it really just meant that I had to find a way to outreach to new followers. And so it's between that, like I had that, but at the same time, like mental health wise, oh, it was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why like I've reduced down to like 3 to 4 days a week now instead. And I don't let myself typically stream past certain times in the day as well, because I say I need to go and get myself some sleep.
Yeah.
I need to take care of myself because I wasn't during that time I wasn't sleeping a whole lot either, or I wasn't sleeping very well.
Right.
So I wish one of our friends was watching this. His mood shift when he doesn't get the views of the chatters in his.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand where they are coming from. But it is something that definitely needs to be worked on so that way you can have a overall more positive mentality.
Yeah.
We
should do like a how to stream for zero chatters thing eventually too.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, how to stream to zero chatters is the same thing as streaming to 2,000 viewers.
Spoiler.
Viewer count goes off because whether you have 1 or 1,000,
yep,
stream as if the entire world is watching.
Yep, as if you're.
Well,
yeah.
And yes, W, don't compare yourself to other streamers. You do you and focus on you. You can learn from other streamers, but don't ever compare.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say look at other streamers as a positive mentality to basically find like what things do you really like in a streamer. Like great example, my favorite streamer is actually not even on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It is somebody who streams on YouTube, believe it or not. And they stream, it's this guy named Arnold T101, and he streams a mobile Star Wars game.
Okay.
But his production value, like, is through the roof. He has everything Star Wars themed. He actually acts like he's like a Grand Admiral in the Imperial Navy.
I love that.
And he's got like this really cool like uniform that he wears, like the white Imperial suit. And then he's got like the little rank thing on him. And
nice.
Sometimes like, there's different game modes. So, like when he's fighting in ships in the game, he actually has an overlay, but makes it look like he's actually flying off into a TIE fighter.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like he was a big inspiration for like some of the things that I've done on my streams and how I've interacted with people on my streams. And so like that right there, like I know that right now I'm not nearly as big as this guy is because he pulls in like a couple thousand people per stream playing a mobile Star Wars game. And so like it's but the thing is like I'm not comparing myself to him in that regard. I'm comparing myself as to, all right, I like this and identify with it and it's something that is easily engageable. How can I use this to further myself? And it was actually because of his content that I also learned about improving my own audio because I was only listening to one of his streams at one point and not fully like watching. And I realized like I had that epiphany moment of like, I got to get my audio better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got to make sure that I am fully understandable when I am talking on streams. And because so many people will put on a stream and they won't fully watch it, they'll just be listening. And so that's something interesting to kind of think about there. And I'm going to get to Far South here now that I've kind of finished my little
Yeah, you're good.
thing here. But like all of like looking at other streamers is just a way to help better yourself. And that's why like when I did that YouTube video where I was like saying like some 15 steps to start streaming, one of them was watch other people. And like that's not always advice that is given, because most of the time you're thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be watching other people if I'm trying to make myself grow. And the thing is like, no, that's totally wrong.
Yeah.
And so you absolutely should watch other people.
Yeah. Inspiration, not comparison. Like when you get inspired by other folks. Like there are plenty of folks who, definitely inspire me in a variety of ways, many of whom are here, many of whom I'm even on a video chat call with. Which is to say, hi, G teacher, I'm being very subtle. So, but yeah, like, audio is going to be one of those things. And actually, maybe we should close it out with a quick demonstration of one of the most crucial audio things. If you take nothing else from any Academy stream, I want you to come home with this tip. And that is sidechain compression. For the love of God. So let's see what that looks like.
Okay. While you get yourself all set in there, I want to respond to Far South because they hit a lot of
absolutely
points here. You so unique and wonderful. It's rare to have a space so open about everyone. As streamers talking about their streams, have a lot of respect for what you guys are doing. I appreciate you, Far South. Like it's so important to be the same self no matter how that number jumps around. Absolutely, you should be. You'll lose people if you're not your same self. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why if you're having like a rough mental health day, it shouldn't just be like, well, obviously you should take a day for yourself. But also like if you're having a poor mental health day, it might affect your like what you're putting on as entertainment. And so like that's something to kind of keep in mind. Like you don't want to make matters worse, because sometimes by going in with a bad mentality, you'll eventually end up getting to a point in time where it's people aren't going to want to watch.
Right. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Audio is huge, absolutely. And yes, you should watch your VODs. Absolutely, you should watch your VODs.
Please watch your VODs.
Here's a great thing. If you don't want to watch your content, other people don't want to either.
Correct. Correct.
And I know that it can be rough to watch your own content and hear your own voice and whatnot. It was something I had to get over myself for, some time. And now I'm so used to hearing my own voice.
Yeah.
That it might as well be white noise to me.
Exactly.
But yes, it all improves. So, all right, we're all caught up here. So,
okay. All right. So, what is sidechain compression, you might be asking yourself? That's a fancy word for another word, for ducking. So, that thing that people have when they're playing their video games and they just talk. They don't mess with the volume. They just talk and the volume automatically ducks. They don't touch nothing. It just automatically does it. Set it and forget it. That's what sidechain compression is. Okay. So, and very frequently with new streamers or with small streamers, they don't have this feature. And it's not, that they're, purposefully doing this. It's just that no one really gets taught this.
Nope.
So what you do, so we're going to do this in slobs, and I forgot that slobs isn't going to show the thing I need it to show. So we're going to have to capture entire screen, because otherwise it's going to be...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That is...
That's okay.
Yep.
There we go. Cool. It's Streamception. So you go over, you have your audio input capture, of course, but you go over to your audio output capture in slobs or in your OBS. You go to filters. I'm going to make this bigger. I can already tell I'm going to need to make this bigger. Because
all the behind the scenes.
Exactly. Okay. Yep. We're going to make that much bigger and not throw it down in the... You go to the ground. That's where you go. Okay, there we go.
And threw it on the ground.
That's right.
I don't know if anybody remembers that SNL skit, but
your dad's not a phone. So what you do is you go to your audio output capture, add filter. Right, and then you're going to go and you're going to add a compressor. I've already added a compressor, so I'm not going to add another one. Then you go to sidechain ducking source to where you're going to be talking. Yep, this is OBS as well. That's correct. So this is for both Streamlabs and OBS, or XSplit, I think is the other one. And this can be for any audio input, right? So if you want a movie to be the ducking primary source, you can do that. For me, we're doing audio input, so my mic. Then what you do, because if you just leave it with the default kind of thing, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off for a minute. There we go. And then if you have the default compressor on, so your ratio and your threshold aren't going to actually do anything. So like the way they've said it, there's not going to be much side chaining. It's only going to be for really big peaky stuff, which isn't going to be very helpful. So what you want to do is you want to move both the ratio and the threshold. So I'm going to move it from 10 to 5, and then threshold. Right now it's pretty aggressive. Right now it's not so aggressive. This is very aggressive. I'm actually going to turn it a little bit towards 37 because I'm not competing with really loud game. I'm just being like, hello, it's GTeach. It's cool.
Yes.
So, and it's really that simple. Keep your attack low so that way it doesn't sound a little bit weird. Keep your release pretty low, and you want to keep your output gain around 0. Because otherwise you're going to start messing around with peaking, and you don't want to do that. So it's just, yes, it's a couple of steps. But doing this means you do it once, and then you never have to worry about this again. You will never have to fight a video game for being heard, and you don't have to worry about the video game is too quiet to be heard, because it'll just automatically do it. So like having this, I think, is crucial for small streamers. I'm going to go ahead and delete the old one. And there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and take that back. There we go. Cool.
Awesome.
So, questions about that? Did that make sense? I can run through it one more time if people need to.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, voice e-meter. Yeah, absolutely. If you are a person who gets really who needs the kind of routing control for your audio, voice e-meter is definitely going to be the one. Just be aware it does use up a lot of system resources, so make sure that your computer, it doesn't have to be super beefy. It doesn't have to be swolef. It just has to be, a little. It does calisthenics on the side.
Right.
So,
yeah, I needed to put I think I put a limiter on mine when I'm streaming, because I typically project, victim of years of theater and teaching and all of that jazz. it's not that I'm yelling at people. It's just that my voice projects.
Yeah. You use your diaphragm properly, because the thing is, when you're using your diaphragm properly, people can hear you correctly. Yeah, the only reason I don't always project is because I right over there is like the living room, and people usually are like, Jeff, are you okay?
Yeah, it's really bad when my wife has to work early the next day, and I accidentally wake her up because there's no limiter I can put on this wall right here.
Yeah.
But she's sleeping on the other side.
Yeah,
It's why a finished basement is kind of a must-have for when we hopefully get a house in the next 20 years.
Oh my God. Oh God, that is the mood. That is the mood right there. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
But I'm glad that we could help Farsoth.
Yeah.
I'm glad that listen, as long as like everybody learns at least one thing each time you come in here, then we're here for it.
Job well done. We did our job. So yeah. No, that's excellent. Do we have a raid target? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Double Yoke.
Yeah. Geez, I love that Wotan gift.
I know, right? Oh wow, you get some good inertia here.
Yeah. Well, let's see who's around. And hey, if anybody in the comments has you see, I've been doing too much YouTube. If anybody in the chat has
anyone in the chat, there we go.
Yeah, not the comments. Like that's totally something completely different. Then yeah, let us know, because we'd love to have a nice raid target for today. Not as many people stream on Sundays.
We're Farsoth and Ms. Double Yolk are coming in here. So there's Whiskey Rush.
Whiskey Rush, okay.
Okay. And Farsoth, who are you thinking about?
Unless their name is Calm Cozy. Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go take a look at both. Make sure that they're live at the moment. Wait, yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely not a name.
I mean,
there we go. That looks more like a name.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Oh, your keyboard went backwards. Weird.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I see that. Oh wow, now I notice it. Jeez. And then we've got Whiskey Rush. Well, it's possible that we might end up making this into a poll of chat.
Okay.
So what do we got here? So JKLM Exploring is playing Sekiro, and Whiskey Rush is playing Haunt Chaser. So Whiskey Rush is doing 3 indie games and some other potential horror games, and then and then JKLM Exploring is doing just lots of stabby stabs in Sekiro.
Stabbity
stab, and Akai Fox is also live. Let's we'll take a look here, and then maybe we'll I think maybe we'll put together a poll, maybe.
Yeah,
between the 3. Akai Fox is doing some Stream Raiders. I love the setup. I love the setup for Akai Fox.
Yeah, Akai Fox has some great stuff.
That's really cool. Like I'm digging on it. And yeah, JKLM Exploring definitely has some cozy vibes, and these are all great suggestions, guys. Jeez.
JKLM is doing which game?
They are doing Sekiro,
and then Whiskey Rush is doing Haunt Chaser, right?
At the moment, yes.
Okay. Awesome.
And then Akai Fox is doing Stream Raiders. They just started. Whiskey Rush has been streaming for about 45 minutes, and then JKLM has been on for 4.5 hours.
Oof.
Wow. That is dedication right there. Wow.
Oof. All right, I'm going to make a 2-minute
She has got
poll.
fantastic hair.
There we go. All right. The poll is now up.
They never get frustrated. Just try over and over and have a super and welcoming and supporting chat. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
We missed one other suggestion, but that's okay.
Oh, did we? Oh.
We saw. I just saw it. I don't even know. Fiji Sosa Laugh XLR. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
They're playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Okay. Well, note it for next time. For next time.
Definitely.
You know what? It's always good to have some a variety of people that we could roll in and give some love to.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna refrain, I think, from voting here. Because all of them are incredible, and I don't know if I'd be able to select between them, if I'm being honest.
Right.
So I'll probably go drop a follow on all of their channels today. Yep. Because I think that they all deserve it, because they all look like some good beans, and I want to make sure I provide as much support as I can.
Exactly. Yeah, Akai Fox is a lot of fun. I've been following Akai Fox for a while. JKLM looks great, and I'm loving the calm FromSoft. As a FromSoft person who has played all the way back from Kingsfield to Sekiro, like I am.
Oh, I'm actually already following Akai Fox.
Oh, perfect. But yeah, like I am very interested in finding other chill FromSoft people.
Absolutely. All right, we got our winner.
All right, we have a winner.
Congratulations, JKLM.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah.
As always, Stranger Peace put together quite the bundle of information. We focused a lot on making sure that we could look at things like Twitch tracker. And so we'll post any and all resources in the Discord. So make sure that you take a look there if you are ever lost and need to find any of the resources that we've gone over thus far. And Far South, I'm glad that we connected too.
Yeah, me too.
And Miss Double Yoke, I'm glad that the vibes were good. I'm always about the vibes, so I'm happy that we could provide some good vibes here.
And speaking of vibes, I couldn't have done this without G-Teach, because like G-Teach is in fact like the person who takes all this dense information and makes it actually like translatable. Like I cannot do any of this without G-Teach, because I'm sitting here going, well, what if we did this? And G-Teach is like, oh, here, let me explain it like that way people will understand it. And I'm like, you know what? You're a blessing. So I just need you to know that.
Thank you so much.
So
you're a blessing. So all right, let's get the raid going before the raid doesn't happen here. So
all right, take it easy. Stream well.
And prosper.
Stream well and prosper. I love it. I love it. Oh my God.
All right.
And we're there.
And we're